In this episode, we are going to learn the 23rd strategy. The name of the strategy is Befriending the distant enemy while attacking a nearby enemy. Welcome to subscribe to the 36 Stratagems channel. It is known that nations that border each other become enemies, while nations separated by distance and obstacles make better allies. When you are the strongest in one field, your greatest threat is from the second strongest in your field, not the strongest from another field. To clarify the meaning of the stratagem, let us first examine a story. Fan Zhu, a native of Wei, went to the state of Qin to persuade them and met King Zhao of Qin. King Zhao asked Fan Zhu about the stratagem of attacking the fortified states. Fan Zhu looked and said, "Currently, the most powerful of the 7 states is Qin. Unifying the entire country should be effortless. We should first eliminate the immediate threats and then gradually expand outward." Following Fan Zhu's advice, King Zhao retracted his troops that were prepared to attack the distant state of Qi, and instead turned to attack the neighboring state of Wei. As a result, Qin was able to seize a large amount of land from neighboring countries, thus laying a solid foundation for King Shi Huang's unification of China. In essence, befriending the distant enemy while attacking a nearby enemy refers to a stratagem of creating and utilizing divisions, disintegrating enemy alliances, and implementing a divide and conquer approach. Its key principle is that when achieving military objectives becomes difficult due to geographical constraints, one should first target the nearest enemy and refrain from engaging distant enemies. The purpose is to prevent the formation of enemy alliances and to divide and conquer them one by one. The stratagem of making friends with distant enemies serves to avoid excessive diplomatic deception on and the creation of too many enemies. The stratagem of befriending the distant enemy while attacking a nearby enemy is based on the idea of exploiting contradictions, dividing and disintegrating enemy alliances, and utilizing a divide and conquer stratagem. Its technique lies in recognizing that attacking nearby enemies is beneficial, while attacking distant enemies is detrimental when limited by geography and circumstances. Each enemy possesses different geographical locations, objectives, values, and perceptions of danger. Thus, they have different approaches to reaching us. As a result, we cannot generalize our actions, but instead must tailor our responses based on their unique circumstances. By adopting varying stratagem against different enemies, we effectively divide them. No matter how powerful an enemy may be, it becomes challenging for them to withstand the combined efforts of multiple enemies. Under such circumstances, it is advantageous to preemptively divide and break the alliance between them, rendering them passive and unable to cooperate. When enemies cannot cooperate or aid one another, it becomes easier to defeat them. The key is to concentrate on dealing with the immediate enemy and isolate them. It is important to note that distant friendship does not imply long-term reconciliation. A distant enemy remains an enemy, and sooner or later, they become a confidant. Thus, considering distant enemies is merely a temporary diplomatic stratagem to avoid creating an excessive number of enemies. Once the nearby enemy is conquered, the purpose of the temporary friendship with the distant enemy is fulfilled. When facing an enemy alliance composed of multiple enemies, it is essential to divide and disintegrate them, ensuring they do not unite against us. If we have good relations with neighboring countries, it can lead to confusion and chaos. By prioritizing friendship with distant enemies, we prevent distractions and utilize a divide and conquer approach to systematically defeat nearby enemies. Inbreeding comes with 2 disadvantages. It is akin to sleeping next to a snoring couch. Even if the nearby enemy is temporarily calmed, they can turn against us at any moment. The close enemy is in our vicinity, binding us tightly and limiting our outward development. To continue expanding, we must overcome this obstacle. On the other hand, there are 3 disadvantages to far attacks. They are costly, as they involve long-distance operations that may be less effective than targeting nearby enemies. episode, we will start the 24th strategy. If you want to listen, please subscribe to this channel, and you won't get lost.